Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and I am playing from behind again today. But the official cool guy of the Digital Asset Investor channel has been all over it. He's already sent me two things. The first one's this. Joe Biden plans to nominate Christy Goldsmith Romero, who teaches cryptocurrency regulations at the University of Virginia, and Professor K.N. Johnson. Let's see what her name is. Kristen Johnson, a law professor specializing in complex financial instruments at Emory, to the CFTC. So, we shall see how that goes, because we know there's a struggle between the SEC and the CFTC currently going on about who, or at least it appears that way, that there's like a struggle for who's going to get what portion of cryptocurrency and all of that. So we'll see how that goes. Now, this is something I'm kind of confused on this one. What's happening behind closed doors is very strange. The biggest exchange for getting this page on their website impossible. I'm assuming this page is their homepage. I don't know. But down here it says, from this Dusty BC, it says, breaking, Coinbase took their XRP page down. Okay, there we go. Took their XRP page down today after numerous XRP community members noticed a 2019 Coinbase.com/international still promoted XRP. You can see the picture is still there, but the web page is now unavailable. So, there you go. All right, and then I posted this today. You got to see this. My question is, I was asked Chris Brummer, who's like a law professor at Georgetown University. This guy's one of the key figures in all of crypto. He's been interviewing all the major players for the last few years. And here he was interviewing Bill Hinman. Now, remember, Bill Hinman told in court, signed affidavit, he said that speech, the Bill Hinman's Ethereum speech, was his personal opinion. That's all it was. Well, listen to this, and I'm literally asking for, because Chris Brummer, he's a legit guy. It'd be cool if he would weigh in on what his impression was when he was doing this interview, because it sure doesn't sound like a personal opinion to me.
Thank you. Nick Carter, Castle Island Ventures. Director Hinman.
So this is a guy from some kind of venture capital fund that's asking this guy this question. Castle Island Ventures, I'm assuming, is a venture capital firm. Now, he should be saying, this is a guy that's running a business, his answer should be, well, you misunderstood. That was my personal opinion. That's not the SEC. That's not how he answers it. Listen up.
Thank you for your talk. I work for a venture fund, and we talk to a lot of, let's call them token issuers, that inform me that they are planning on passing the Hinman test, which is, an unintended consequence of your talk. But it seems that now we have lots of tokens that are designing against, the Ethereum test or the decentralization test, which you described. I wonder what you make of that.
Well, it sounds good. And maybe, they are going to follow that path I described before, which is maybe have a more developed network before they offer tokens for funds, which would be terrific, because as I mentioned, I think it is easier if you're a little bit more established and you have something that a network on which your token can operate to then pass the whatever test to make sure that it's not something people are buying with an expectation of return, where the person offering it, your colleagues, know a lot more about the prospects of the value of that coin than the purchaser of that coin. But again, I think there is a path there. it is somewhat challenging to start your funding and with coin offering and get there. I think if you have a more established network, then there's ways you can build your token and features into your token that make it much less likely to be viewed as a security.
All right, and then we've got this. This is a guy that did a thread on this, and it says that he used to be an attorney. I don't know what that means, former lawyer. I'm not sure if Hinman is corrupt. I don't have a horse in that race, but the SEC, their conducts after Hinman's speech makes the whole thing so damn sketchy. Fair warning, a rant follows. The key idea in Hinman's speech was that a token could be a security, then not be a security. An ICO token could cease being a security. This idea then found its way into SEC guidance. Remember, everyone wondering what sufficiently decentralized meant? This idea makes sense. A token, like an asset, can be sold, Hinman presented a view that ETH has been shorn, I don't know what that, of the ICO investment contract. I happen to agree, it makes sense. But only if you agree that the token is not a security. Then he goes, but in court filing submissions and under oath in the SEC versus Ripple, it claims the idea that ETH is not a security is just Hinman's opinion. So not only does ETH not have a free pass, but the basic idea that a token can be shorn of its security status is also denied as official policy. This is egregiously dishonest to have a personal opinion written by SEC staff, presented as an SEC opinion, laundered as market guidance, but disavowed by the SEC at every turn. Why? Just why? So you see where he's going with this. And this is how anybody with a half a brain and some common sense is thinking. The whole market was in my opinion, the SEC, this was an intentional thing where they wanted to give this impression, get Ethereum through the gate. I mean, this is awful. And he summarizes it all here. It's like you want to, like, I always remember Mugato in the movie Zoolander. He says, "Is everybody taking crazy pills?" That's exactly what this is. It's like everybody's taking crazy pills. Now, this is interesting. John Deaton had responded to Stefan Huber. Does anyone know when the investigation against Ripple was opened? 2019? When exactly? Do you guys have a source? Anyway, he says 2018. Well, I replied to that, or I retweeted that. I said, ironically, the same year Ripple got a free Ethereum got a free pass. He says it's worse than that, D. I believe Ripple got notice of the investigation shortly before the speech, which was on June 14th, 2018. Shortly means I believe the facts will show an investigation was launched between March 2018 and early June 2018. We need the date of the first email with the draft. Then James Phelan says the formal order of investigation was issued on March 9th, 2019. I have no doubt an informal investigation was being conducted before then. Okay, and then there's this. He says, thanks, Jimmy. You are right about the informal investigation. What I was basing my knowledge on is from April 6th hearing when Dugan Bliss said that at the time of the June 14th, 2018 speech, Ripple was under investigation. The timing of this investigation is interesting. About that time at which Hinman made those remarks in 2018, Ripple was under investigation by the SEC at the time of that speech. That speech could not have provided any comfort. Okay. And then James Phelan put this here. The formal order of investigation was March 9th, 2019. I have no doubt informal investigation was being conducted before then. All right. Then Jeremy Hogan had posted a link to Gary Gensler's not speech or anyway, tomorrow Gary Gensler, because the Congress has oversight of the SEC, Gary Gensler is going to Congress, the Finance Committee, and he's going to give an introduction, and then they're going to ask him questions, and we hope they ask him important questions. This is the section of his speech that he's going to give. He already put it out. Crypto assets market. Next, I'll turn to a newer market structure issue, crypto assets. Right now, large parts of the field of crypto are sitting astride of not operating within regulatory frameworks that protect investors and consumers, guard against illicit activity, and ensure for financial stability. Currently, we just don't have enough investor protection in crypto finance, issuance, trading, or lending. Frankly, at this time, it's more like the Wild West or the world of buyer beware that existed before the securities laws were enacted. This asset class is rife with fraud, scams, and abuse in certain applications. We can do better. I have asked SEC staff working with our fellow regulators to work along two tracks. One, how can we work with other financial regulators under current authorities to best bring investor protection to these markets? Two, what gaps are there that with Congress assistance we might fill? At the SEC, we have a number of projects that cross over both tracks: the offer and sale of crypto tokens, crypto trading and lending platforms, stable value coins, investment vehicles, providing exposure to crypto assets or crypto derivatives, custody of crypto assets. With respect to investor protection, we're working with our sibling agency, the CFTC, as our two agencies each have relevant and in some cases overlapping jurisdiction in the crypto markets. With respect to a broader set of policy frameworks, we're working with not only the CFTC, but also the Federal Reserve, Department of Treasury, Office of the Comptroller of the Currency. Well, here, I'll say this: if you're working with the Department of the Treasury, then you might want to check with them on their 2015 FinCEN ruling settlement with Ripple, where XRP was declared a virtual currency, which is why none of us should be here in this situation. You might want to pull that document while you're there. Okay, I'm not going to go through any more of this. All this bureaucrat mess makes me sick. Now, I want you to see this. This guy right here was with the SEC, okay? I want you to listen to what he says, and also this guy says they're at swell in 2018. Let's go forward a little bit.
So I started looking at blockchain and Bitcoin when I was at the SEC in 2014, and the SEC started looking at it several years before that. And what I was really impressed with when I was at the SEC is how proactive they were. A lot of times the SEC is criticized for being reactive, seeing a new...
Okay, now there's already something you need to focus on. First thing is, he said that they were looking, he was there in 2014 looking at this. He said the SEC was looking at it for years before. I played you a woman yesterday who worked at the SEC in 2013, and she said at that time they determined that Bitcoin was a commodity and not a security. They did not say a word to the investors that they're supposed to protect for 5 years. It wasn't officially until the Hinman speech when they declared Bitcoin a non-security. Why did they let that go for 5 years?
Product and reacting to it and trying to regulate by enforcement or some other way. But what I saw was an agency that is embracing the technology, even though it may not seem that way. But they formed an internal working group back in 2014. I was one of the original members, the Digital Ledger Technology Working Group, and they really wanted to understand this. They knew this was real, and this was a new technology that was going to be transformative, and they really wanted to understand it and get their hands around it. So they formed this working group, and they tapped people from all around the commission, and they really tried to dig in. They brought industry experts in to educate the working group and other members of the commission and other members of the staff. And
question, from each of your perspectives, do you think XRP is a security? And if you had to guess, what would you think the SEC would say?
Start with our SEC expert, Mike.
I don't think XRP is a security. I think XRP is a currency, and the reason why is when you think about the test that was laid out by the Supreme Court in 1946 in the SEC v. Howey, which is, you've probably all heard of the Howey test. It's a 4-factor test: investment of money in a common enterprise with the expectation of profits based on the efforts of others. And you have to satisfy all 4 prongs. So if one of those prongs is not there, you're not a security. So with XRP, Ripple could go away and XRP would still exist. And so there's no efforts of others in my mind.
Anyone else want to take that one?
Based on the framework that we have developed, it wouldn't fall nicely within the securities definition. So for that, I do think that for us, we regulate it more like a commodity than a security at this point.
There you go. Okay, I put this video up, and it's interesting, and I wanted to show it to you. I've shown some things on Charles Hoskinson before. Many of you don't know. He was one of the founders of Ethereum. To me, he's one of the last surviving good guys in crypto. I mean, he's one of a handful that I would say are real good guys. This guy literally turned down 200, I think it was over 200,000 Ethereum when they did their ICO. And he's the guy that literally created the ICO. That's what he says here. Listen to what he says.
So I flew down to Miami on my dime. A lot of people did. I think 20, 30 people eventually stayed in that beach house, and we spent a whole week together, and back end of it, we decided, let's go do something crazy. And I took over the business side for the first 6 months, and what I did is I structured basically the ICO and how we were going to raise money and how, operationally what it would look like. And then Vitalik, Gavin Wood, and Jeff Wiltshire got together, and they worked on the technology side. Jeff did the Go client. Gavin did the yellow paper and the C++ client. Vitalik kept iterating and improving the overall idea. And then Joe Lubin and Anthony were kind of financial backers, and Mihai helped me with the structuring of the entity. We both lived in Switzerland for a little bit. And after we got everything set up, we kind of had to make a decision whether we wanted to be like Ripple and be a for-profit entity building a protocol, or if we wanted to be more like a foundation. I strongly favored a for-profit entity because I felt that all the founders would leave to the wind if we didn't have incentives to stay, whereas others favored a not-for-profit. Eventually, a decision was made in June of 2014 to do the not-for-profit. I left, and eventually Joe left, and I think 7 of the 8 founders have left now and gone to do other things. The only one that stayed was Vitalik, and he's still at the foundation.
Do you regret leaving?
No, not at all. It was mutual. There was really no place for me, and I wanted to build something.
So that's pretty interesting stuff. I wanted to finish by showing you I don't know if they've still got it, but Link2 added some Ripple equity. They've also got Uphold on here, and they've got Kraken and Link2, and they're this is private equity for those of you that don't know about it, and you got to be accredited, but you can apply and they can help you out there. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and tell your friends and family that Charles Hoskinson's one of the last remaining good guys in this space from what I can tell.